Hi, everyone. So, we are going to talk about the belief mindset. So, this is the third in our series where we're talking about the Amber effect. And I'm going to take a few minutes, let people come and join us here. But I'm so excited you're here today. And we're going to really dig in deep. The last couple of weeks we focused, in case you missed it, go back and check it out. We talked about the first in the Amber effect, which is the ask mindset. All right. Really digging into understanding, what do I even want? What's next for me? And trying to really uncover and connect back with what's most important to us, right? Because it's often easy to get wrapped up into what everybody else thinks we should be doing, or that we're maybe good at, but we're really not interested in, or we used to do, but we don't want to go back to it. So the ask mindset, we talked a lot about practical tools and mindset shifts for understanding what it is you really want. And then last week, we talked about the move mindset. And this is what, like, maybe you know exactly what you want. You totally know. But trying to get the motivation to get moving, it's a whole different story, right? So last week, we focused in on all of the ways that you can really be honest with yourself about what's going to work for you when it comes to getting motivated and moving forward, right? Okay, so this week, we're talking about belief. So we have A for ask, M for move, and B for belief. So I'm really excited to share with you some of my favorite tools and strategies and tricks and kind of mindset shifts when it comes to beliefs, because believe it or not, they're super, super powerful, right? So in case you don't already know, my name is Amber Trueblood. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm mom to 4 boys. Right now, they're 8, 10, 12, and 13 years old. And the oldest, yes, is taller than me now, which is totally freaking me out. But I also have a podcast called Stretch Marks, a book called Stretch Marks. And in my podcast, I talk a lot about emotional challenges. I've been so honored to interview all of these incredible men and women, mostly women, but a few men in there too, about their emotional challenges and the self-care tools that they used to get them through those challenges. And these are best-selling authors, many best-selling authors. And also many of them are entrepreneurs and founders in the health and wellness arena, okay? And they're experts in their own areas, but those vary widely. So I'm really excited about that. You can check that out anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And my website is ambertrueblood.com, where I have, you can find all the other stuff that I talk about. But I'm all about self-care for anybody, any caregivers really, who are feeling exhausted, who are feeling overwhelmed, who are feeling disconnected, maybe needing some support, some inspiration, some guidance, right? So today, as part of the Amber Effect series, hosted by Motherhood Maternity, we're going to talk about your beliefs, right? And what happens when your beliefs are not necessarily serving you, right? Okay. So today is for you if you're feeling stuck, maybe. Okay, maybe you know what you want. Maybe you've been motivated. You've been working really hard. You've been trying to move forward in your life, whether it's in your relationship, in your job, as a parent, in your health. It could be any area of your life, right? But you feel like it's just not moving. You're just not getting somewhere. Something's blocking you, right? You're trying, but something's blocking you. So what I'm going to talk about today is for you if you feel like you're blocked in one area of your life, okay? There might be something subconsciously that is keeping you back, right? That's holding you back a little bit. And there's tools that I want to share with you today to help you uncover that and then replace it with healthier beliefs, okay? So today, I'm going to cover exactly that. And what I like to call them is baloney beliefs, because there's a difference between a real belief, like a basic belief that you already know about yourself, right? You already have basic, values and beliefs about the world and about humans, and right or wrong, whatever. We all have our own kind of basic beliefs that if somebody asked you, what do you believe in? You'd be able to say, okay, those are not the beliefs I'm talking about, okay? The beliefs I'm talking about are the underlying beliefs, the sneaky ones, the baloney ones. And I call them baloney beliefs because they're often never questioned because we don't even realize we have them, okay? They're more hidden, they're more subtle. And because of that, they're harder to figure out, right? They're harder to uncover. But the good thing is once we do uncover them, they're much easier to dispel, to dissolve, right? To smash, okay? Because because they're not based in a lot of facts, a lot of data, a lot of, right? So they're quite easy to change, but not if we don't even know they're there. Okay, so baloney beliefs are beliefs about ourselves, about the world around us, about our opportunities that are not serving us. That these are beliefs that aren't serving you, that you have about the world that are blocking you from success, right? One of these could be like, I used to carry this, a lot of women do, when we think about, our weight and our body and how we feel in the world and being healthy. I used to think, well, people who are really thin, they don't eat. I didn't like tell myself that on purpose, but I realized after some digging rather, that I really believed that. Somewhere in my psyche, I had told myself that. Sorry, I have like spots on my face. I'm going to move over here. So once I realized I was holding that baloney belief, I asked myself, well, is that true? Do I really believe that everybody who is thin doesn't eat, like, or rarely eats? And I could immediately call up examples in my life of people who I know who are very thin and eat plenty, and people who are not very thin at all and don't eat very much. And although I knew that intellectually, right, I still had this baloney belief that was driving me and that was not helping me have a healthy mindset about food or exercise, right? So that's an example of a baloney belief, and we can have them in any area of our lives, right? So, okay, so I'm going to give you some tools now, some steps. The first step is uncovering it in the first place, right? What is a baloney belief? So, some ways that we can kind of dig into these and help uncover them is to ask yourself things like, okay, what's my baloney belief about partners? So you could say, like, I don't think it's ever possible for me to have a partner who is fill in the blank. Okay. And some of us, you might not hold a baloney belief about your relationship. But if you're not in a relationship, or if you're in an unhealthy relationship, or a relationship that's just not working right now, you might have an underlying belief that you will never have a relationship. It doesn't exist for somebody who is compassionate and kind and smart and funny and loves you and is affectionate. You might be like, I really don't believe that's possible. But it's a subtle belief. It's something that maybe you don't think out loud. Okay. So you can ask yourself that. What do I believe would be an impossibly good partner? Okay. You can ask yourself this when it comes to money and finances. Oh my gosh, I will never make X amount of dollars a year. What number seems like preposterous to you? Okay, that's your limit. That's your limiting belief. I'll never make $300,000 a year. Boom, that's your number. That's your limiting belief number. Okay, it might be weight. If you're somebody who's always struggled with your weight, say, you might say, yeah, I will never weigh X number of pounds. Okay. Not that health is all about a number, because we all know it's not, but I'm just using that as an example. Does that make sense? What about your job? I never believe I could have a job that I would love, that allows me to be creative, where I also love the people. Or for instance, with friendships, sometimes we'll say like, oh, well, I can't imagine having a friend who is kind and really supports me and lives close to me. We all think like, okay, well, I can get these 3 things, but to get all 5, that's just ridiculous. Okay. So these are some baloney beliefs that are very, very common. And when it comes to money, I mentioned a money one. We all have so many beliefs when it comes to money, right? Oh, people who have money are greedy or bad, or you have to work really, really hard all the time if you want to have financial freedom of any kind. These are the types of beliefs that we hold around money. So many of us. And frankly, they're not serving you. So step 1 is uncovering, where in my life am I holding some baloney beliefs that are probably not serving me? Okay, so that's the first step, because if you don't even know they're there and you don't know what they are, you can't move forward, right? So that's the first step, is uncovering what are these baloney beliefs. Okay. Stay with me, because now we're getting to the what the heck do you do about it? Right. So that's number two. The second thing is getting curious about it. And I love the word curious or wonder, because it separates the question from judgment, right? So if you ask yourself, I wonder where that came from. That's interesting. Get curious about it. Not so that's different than saying, why do I think that? Do you see the tone? The difference in the tone is comes with like a judgment, right? A shaming. And the other is, I wonder where that could have come from. And you're also not looking for somebody else to blame, but sometimes it's not necessary, but sometimes it's really enlightening. It's useful, it's interesting if we can figure out where it came from. Sometimes it's something very subtle. It's something your grandmother used to say at dinner time. It was a joke that went on in your family. It was a way that your sibling teased you growing up, and it just got into your head and you started accepting it as fact. But it could be something as simple as one thing one random person said to you one time, but it really needled in there and it got stuck. And so beliefs are like that. Sometimes we have these subtle baloney beliefs that get really hooked into our brains, and they affect us. They affect our decisions. They affect our relationships. They affect our choices for the rest of our lives, right? And we don't even realize it. So once we uncover them, it's not necessary, but it can be helpful to then ask yourself, where does this come from? I wonder. I'm curious. When do I remember first feeling this way? Do I remember anybody telling me this? Or did I just come up with it by myself? Or did I assume by other people's reactions? Oh, that's interesting. Could now, looking back at it as an adult, would I have that same reaction? Would I have come to that same conclusion now as I did when I was 6? Probably not. Probably could see a broader picture, or that person better now, and you realize, oh, they were calling me this name. They called me lazy because they wanted to deflect the attention onto me so that mom and dad wouldn't get them in trouble for something else. But am I lazy? Actually, I'm not lazy at all. So why do I think of myself as lazy? So that's one way to uncover these underlying baloney beliefs. Okay. So get curious with kindness toward yourself, right? I always talk about self-kindness. With kindness toward yourself, ask, is this true? Where did this come from? Okay. Actually, you're going to ask, where did this come from first? The third step actually is deciding whether or not it's true. Now you might have a positive baloney belief that you were like, yeah, I want to keep that, or you might say, yeah, I'm a little bit lazy. Probably not. My guess is that most of these underlying baloney beliefs, you're going to decide not to agree with. You're going to decide, I don't think I buy that anymore, or you maybe shift it a little bit. So the third step, so you're going to uncover, you're going to get curious about where it might have come from, because that could be useful information. And then the third thing you want to do is decide, do I want to keep this belief or not? Or do I want a healthier belief? Is this belief helping me or hurting me in my job, in my relationships, in my parenting, in how I treat myself? So think about deciding. That's the third step. Deciding, am I going to keep this belief or not? Is this serving me? Okay. You don't have to know how to get rid of it yet. You just want to ask yourself, yes or no. Do I keep or throw away? Is it helping me or is it not helping me? All right. If you decide, no, this is not helping me to think of myself as lazy, for instance. Okay. Then you ask yourself, well, what would I like to believe instead? Okay. Just create. What would be a believable. Okay. So for instance, if it's money and you think, well, I'm not worth, nobody's going to pay me $300,000 a year. What you would like to believe instead is a little bit more than that. So you want to break that ceiling a little bit so that it stays believable. If you jump all the way to 3 million instead of 300,000, for instance, Sometimes it's not useful to jump that big. It's going to be more effective for you if you jump so that you crack that ceiling, but it still feels, at least in the realm of realistic. It doesn't feel like eye roll ridiculous. Does that make sense? So you want to ask yourself, what do I want to believe instead? And then there are tools you can use to start to shift that belief. Now, sometimes, honestly, sometimes, and it happens often, just uncovering it and asking yourself, is this true? Sometimes that alone is enough because you're like, no, it's not true. Done. It just poof, it disappears. Okay. So that can be really, really impactful. But if you're finding yourself having trouble and it's still lingering, it's still affecting you, then you can ask yourself, what do I want to believe instead? Okay. And then write that down, put it in a gratitude journal, write it on a Post-it, write it in makeup, lipstick on the mirror or something like that. And what you want to believe about yourself instead. Okay. And if you have like lots of faulty beliefs, lots of baloney beliefs in every area, just pick one at a time that you want to dismantle. Okay. Just pick the one that would be the most fun to blast out of the water first. Okay. And I use the word fun because I think it's helpful to look at it in a positive light, right? You've been living with this faulty belief for a long time, okay? You have survived, you've thrived through a whole lot already, okay? It's not the end of the world, doesn't have to shift tomorrow. So let's be kind with ourselves about blasting these and make it fun. Let's see how quickly we can dismantle this negative belief I have about money or about my body image or about my ability to make really good friends that I have fun with who treat me well and respect me, about my relationship. Do I deserve to be in a healthy relationship? Okay. Pick one and let's put out there to yourself and to the planet what it is you want to believe instead. Okay. And then the last step for this is ask yourself, and I enjoy writing things down. I think it could be very useful, but you can also say it out loud if you're driving around in the car by yourself or you're out for a walk, or if you're in bed, you can write it out on a piece of paper or you can type it up, put it in notes in your phone. Any of those things will do. But you're going to write out, how will it benefit me and my life if I believe this? If this is my new belief, if I really hold this new belief, what doors might open? What opportunities might come up? What decisions might I make differently if I really believed this about myself? And this is useful. It's a way to get your brain to understand that there are more benefits to you in your life if you are able to shift your belief. So it's kind of creating some momentum behind being able to shift that belief. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's the main format. I'm going to share one more bonus tip, so don't go away. But I first wanted to let you know that I have a free download, and I'm going to talk about one in particular right now. It's the 7 survival tips for new moms, and it's like out of all of it. And if you know anything about all my content, I love practical tips. So I've got a lot of them, but I really honed in on like, okay, when I was a new mom, what were like the top 7 things that if I didn't have any other tips to, if I could never talk to this person again, be the 7 tips I would want to hear as a new mom and I would want to give a new mom. Okay. And these are those tips. So there's a free download on my website, ambertrueblood.com. You can go on there. I think there's like a pop-up. You put in your email and I'll send it to your email. Okay. So check that out. And I think you might really find it useful. And you might even want to like print it out and post it because it's stuff that is, although it's simple, it's not easy. It doesn't necessarily mean that just because you read it once, you're going to automatically take care of yourself in these important ways every day, right? We all know we need to drink more water. We all know to get outside. We all know to breathe. We all know to give ourselves a timeout. There's all kinds of things that we know. It's not brain surgery. I've been watching Grey's Anatomy reruns, so brain surgery is on my mind, but it's not brain surgery. So why don't we do it? Well, it's not a habit. We forget the benefits. We forget how we feel if we do it regularly. We get out of the practice of it. We don't make it easy for ourselves. There's a million reasons why we don't, right? We're busy caring for everybody else, right? Making sure they are eating healthy, making sure they have water, making sure they're sleeping enough. But nobody is making sure for you, right? And that's what I'm all about. That's why I'm here. So those tips for me are what I want you to be able to do for yourself. And it's not just reading them once, it's actually printing them out, writing them down, whatever you need to do. Print out a bunch of copies, put them all over your house, put them in your car, and make it easier for you to take good care of yourself. Okay? Because that's what I want for you. Not just because it's good for you, but because you're going to be a better human, be a better parent, right? And man, when you're a better parent, when you know what you're doing and you feel confident and you feel calm and you're patient and you're clear and you can communicate effectively and kindly and compassionately, man, imagine the benefits to your kids, right? And these are the people that are going to run our planet in the next generation. So I want to make sure they have the best, healthiest, most emotionally secure parents on the planet, right? So that's my goal. All right, I promised you one more tip. Okay, so the one more tip also has to do with your kids. It's this. With this new belief that you're trying to instill in your mind, whether it's about your relationship or your weight or your finances, whatever it is that you're trying to improve that you feel like probably being blocked by a faulty belief, by a baloney belief, I want you to ask yourself, right? Again, write it out, please, like make a list, put it in your journal if you have a journal. You're going to write out all the ways you having this healthy belief, this healthier, this bonus, like the upgraded belief, all the ways this will benefit other people outside of you. How will this benefit your coworkers? How will you having this new mindset, this new belief benefit your partner? How will it benefit your children? How will it benefit your pets? Right? If you change your belief about how busy you are, right? Or how overwhelmed you are, or how unhealthy you are you going to be more likely to take your dog out for a walk every day, maybe? So there's ways that this can benefit all sorts of people and animals and causes. Maybe there's a cause in your community or a group in your community that you're really dedicated to. How might you having this new belief serve them? Okay. So really, 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 I want you to brainstorm here and think of all the different groups, people, anything that's important to you and anyone that's important to you who would benefit from you having this new belief. Okay. Because that will help your motivation. Then you realize it's not just about you. There's a domino effect. Okay. So even if you manage to, or even when, I should say, when you manage to change this belief so that it's a healthy, you have that healthier belief, you are going to impact not just your own life, right? But everybody around you. And you're going to be modeling that as well for your children, which is huge. So it's very, very important for your own motivation to write it out, to acknowledge all the different people besides you that this will benefit. Okay. So when it comes to faulty beliefs, just as a quick review, I want you're going to uncover them, and you can listen to this video again. You can save it. Or you probably save it, or you can benchmark it, highlight it, star it. I don't know. You're going to uncover, right? You're going to uncover these by asking yourself some questions. You're going to get curious in a kind way. Where did this come from? Okay. You're going to decide, is this benefiting me? Does this belief serve me? Or is it kind of making me stuck? Is it kind of blocking me from happiness, from fulfillment, from financial freedom? Okay. And then you're going to ask yourself, well, what do I want to believe instead? What do I want to believe instead? Okay. Then you say all the ways this new belief will benefit you. Okay. All the different areas of your life. And then the bonus thing that is really, really impactful for most moms, because often, right? Often you will do for others what you won't do for yourself, right? But if you know it'll benefit your child, you'll twist yourself into a pretzel, right? So what I want you to do is use that as motivation by really, really highlighting for yourself how this will benefit them, right? How this will benefit your relationship, how this will benefit your career, how this new belief will benefit your family's financial future. Write as many benefits, external benefits as possible, because if you're anything like me, that is hugely motivating. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. Like I said, this is the third in a 5-week series where we're talking about the Amber effect. Okay, so we've got ask, move, believe. Next week, we're going to talk about elevate and then radiate. So I'm so excited to go into those. Again, you can check out my website at ambertrueblood.com. Thank you to Motherhood Maternity. This is my book. I was going to pull it up. Stretch marks. And a lot of what I talked about is in this book, so you can check that out. It's available anywhere books are sold. And also it's on Audible. So if you want to just plug it in your ears and go for a hike, you can do that as well. So I really enjoyed chatting with you today. And I hope that you learned something. I hope that you feel supported. And I hope that you come back and listen to next week's chat as well. So take care. Have a great evening. Cheers.